Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we're going to do another living room episode. We're going to talk about the great fascination that a lot of us have with the entire subject. I mean, I'm one of these people that every aspect of this phenomenon, everything fascinates me. It's not just the historical aspects of it about this. It's not just the fact that the United States government recovered a craft outside of the city of Roswell back in 1947 and has been covering this up ever since. It's not just that. It's not just the historical aspects of it. It's the things that are going on now, the present day activities like the whistleblower stepping forward, the fact that we're having these hearings off and on in Congress discussing UAP and UFO crash retrievals and reverse engineering programs. All of these things, everything about it fascinates me. The behavior of debunkers, the way they act, the way they're handling themselves, the way they love to lie, they love to not face facts. They don't. The way they just try to obscure truth. I'm fascinated by human behavior. I'm fascinated by some people in the UFO community. There's a lot of people actually I see in the UFO community itself. I think there are a lot of them are grifters and liars. Some of them like to play both sides against the middle. And it's all a grift just to make money, I believe. A lot of these people in the UFO community. I'm not going to sit here and name names. I mean, you got to figure it out for yourself who I mean, who you think. I mean, I probably have different ideas than what you might have, but I believe that there are some people who have podcasts like this one who are just liars and grifters, and they're not in it they're out of interest. They're in it just to make a buck. That's what I think. There's a lot of people like that actually right now these days. I think a lot of people in the bunker cult, some of the bigger names, some of the bigger voices. I believe that I think some of them they're not really interested in this. I think that they're just in it for fame, attention, money. They love the power that they obtain from this position. A lot of people, a lot of different aspects of it. And then on the other side of it too, there's some great people in the UFO community, I believe. People who are true researchers, people like Richard Dolan. I have nothing but high respect for his research over the years. The books that he's written, two of my favorite UFO books, actually, they are my two favorite UFO books, are UFOs and the National Security State, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They're my top two favorite books because that lays it out. That tells you everything you need to know about the cover-up and how it started and how it was maintained over all these decades. I mean, he did all this research and he put some masterpieces together. Anybody who were to read those books would walk away understanding for sure that we're not alone here. And as we've been talking about on the show, I mean, there's just so many different cases over the decades. I mean, there's so much different there's so much different evidence that has amassed to this point that it becomes undeniable. I mean, we really don't need the government. I think at this point we don't need it. We could just acknowledge that they're just lying. I mean, anybody who has critical thinking skills could look at this. You step outside the box and just look at all of this stuff. It's a sea. A lot of it is noise. There's a lot of noise out there. Some of it's just phony. Some of it's designed to mislead people. Some of it's designed to take your attention away from the more important aspects to this phenomenon. There's just so many great things about this whole issue that just draws me to it. And I know there's a lot of people out there who feel the same way. I mean, it's not just, and there's other researchers. Like I have great respect for someone like Linda Moulton Howe. I mean, because her research with cattle mutilations back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I mean, it's unparalleled what she accomplished there. Now, she has her own show now. She talks about a lot of different topics with regards to this phenomenon. However, I think her biggest accomplishment in this space has been what she did with this cattle mutilation mystery. Obviously, I think it's safe to say that it's extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence responsible for cattle mutilation over the decades. There's just no question about it. And I think the research that Linda Moulton Howe had that she accomplished here is just astounding, and she showed. I mean, I remember seeing that the first documentary that she had on HBO back in. I didn't see it until years after. Actually, it was from 1980. But when I did see that documentary called Strange Harvest, I was floored. I was floored by the great research, the different people she got to come on camera, different law enforcement officials to talk about this. It was just an amazing amazing beginning to her research. I mean, that was just a start, and then she continued throughout the years. So you got to give a lot of credit to people like Linda Moulton Howe. I have a lot of respect for the Roswell researchers like Donald Schmidt, Thomas Carey, Kevin Randall, the late Stanton Friedman, and there were others as well. But those guys come to mind more than probably anybody else when it comes to the Roswell situation. I mean, they really, really did some great research there, and it's hard for me to believe that mainstream news just seems to overlook this. They just don't take. They never really took Roswell seriously, and that the research conducted by when you put all their research together and you see all the different people they interviewed. I mean, it's clear that the government knew about this. There was a cover-up. There's no question about it. There were alien bodies that were discovered. I mean, one of them possibly could have been alive based on the research. I talk about books like Witness to Roswell or Roswell, Cold Case Closed. I mean, it's just amazing research by some of these people. Fantastic stuff. You look at some of the people who are no longer with us, like John Mack, some of the books that he put out, or Bud Hopkins about alien abduction, and David M. Jacobs. I mean, it's incredible research about dealing with people who have claimed to have been abducted by aliens, but who have suffered missing time, don't know what's going on with them. They want to be told they're crazy, and then they go to these people, these researchers, and you find out that, wow, this is really happening, and then they have to face it. They just have to deal with it. I mean, it's a fact of life, ladies and gentlemen. We're not alone here. We're not alone here. If you take the time to research this subject, look at some of these books that these people have put forth over the decades. Fantastic research. It's amazing. You look at some of the great documentary filmmakers we have. People like James Fox. He has produced some fantastic documentaries on this subject. I believe that The Phenomenon, which was released in 2020, was probably the best documentary that I've seen. There's a lot of great documentaries over the decades, particularly starting in the 1970s. I thought the UFOs Are Real, which was a documentary produced by Brandon Chase. That was fantastic. But in this day and age, I have to say James Fox, he's on top of the heap. Fantastic stuff. I mean, you look at some of the documentaries that Jeremy Corbell has released. Incredible documentaries. The story with the one with Bob Lazar. I mean, how could you? Obviously, something's going on there. I mean, to me, this becomes an intelligence test at this point, folks. I mean, if you can't see this, if you can't see the forest for the trees. I mean, or you're not interested. I mean, I think that's where a lot of this could be. Some people, I just don't know if they're ready. I mean, even a lot of the names in the UFO community, a lot of people who run podcasts and they talk about this all the time. I'm not sure. It's like they have issues. They're just not ready to accept it, even though there's more than enough evidence at this point to show anyone. I mean, anyone that's interested in this should know. I actually sometimes believe that the government is, right, with the things that is going on right now. This is what you would call slow disclosure. I think that maybe their plan here the whole time was, and this doesn't make me right. I'm not sure about this. I mean, there's a lot of mysteries, right, with regard to this. So let me just make that clear before I say what I'm about to say here. I think it's sometimes theater. I mean, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the former director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, I mean, some of the lies that he's been caught in over the last couple of years, to me, it's almost like a joke. They're actually like signaling. The government's trying to signal to you, hey, yeah, this is true, but we can't talk about it. We're lying. Yeah, you caught us. Okay, big whoop. But yeah, but the deal is, folks, hey, we can't tell you. We can't tell you what the reality is. We got to keep this secret for the time being, and that might be what's going on when you really think about it. This is a slow way of alerting the public that, hey, there's something here, but we really can't talk about it. But guess what? You better figure it out on your own. And I think it could be the case with some debunkers actually too. I mean, it could be just doing a job to try to, some people might not be able to handle this. They just might not be able to handle it. For all we know, maybe Mick West, he knows everything that's going on. Perhaps I don't know for sure. Maybe he does, right? Maybe he does, and it's all just some part of some theatrics. He's just there needs to be two different sides to this, right? And so that's the setup that we got. We got people telling us, hey, Hey, how could you deny this? People like former government official like Marin von Rennenkamp trying to tell you, hey, these objects in these Pentagon videos they're anomalous, but then Mick West comes back and says, no, they're not. They're they're prosaic, And maybe this is just this constant battle that we see on the internet between different personalities. Could all just be, theater, just for the masses, for the people who don't really get it. But what it does, it just keeps it out there. It just keeps it out there. Somebody who doesn't have an interest in this may see a tweet here or a tweet there, but they don't really care. It could be that's what it is. I mean, I hope that's what it is. Actually, I would rather it be something like that than people just outright lying about this, because that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing at this point. I mean, we have the proof. I'm tired of people lying. I saw it this morning. There was a tweet from the Patrick from Venet, the YouTube channel, very popular YouTube channel. He talks about UFOs all the time. He's a guy that, in the middle of this, doesn't know if what's real, what's not real a lot of times. But he says he's sick of the liars in the UFO community. Well, maybe it's all by design. Maybe there's some of these people are out there deliberately lying just to keep it in the public sphere. Maybe that's what it's all about. You got to have an antagonist and a protagonist, and maybe that's the whole disclosure plan. Let's just do it this way. We'll have Congress try to pass this UAP Transparency Act as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, and we'll see what happens. And we'll shoot it down over the next couple of years, and maybe it will pass this year, maybe it won't. But that doesn't really matter. The whole fact is that by doing this, Congress is keeping this subject in the public consciousness, giving people time to finally come to terms with this, to get them interested. Maybe this is a way to get people interested. Maybe it's a way to get people to go read books by Richard Dolan, people who write about how the government has been covering this up for decades. I mean, there could be good reasons for it. There could be good reasons for it, as much as I sit around complaining about what demanding disclosure, right? Doesn't make me right. There could be things about this there could be reasons why they're keeping it from the public. So you have to think of these things. There's all kinds of, when you're studying this phenomenon for so long and you get to a point where it's like, well, we know that there's something here. I know it personally. I knew it for a long time, right? I had my own experiences. I had one of these beings come show up in my bedroom when I was a kid. I didn't know what it was. I went on for years thinking it was a devil from hell, a demon. That's what I thought. I didn't know what else to think. That was the best I could muster. I had no idea about aliens, or I thought it was all just Hollywood nonsense. I really didn't believe in it. I couldn't. And then it took time. It took over 10 years till I, I had watching documentaries. I saw a documentary on TV about alien abduction. And then even at that moment, it started making me think. And then, and then I realized it took me time to accept it. That's what it had to be, because I knew there was something there, and whatever it was, it couldn't have been human. Absolutely no chance, right? And not only that, the whole weird the sound, this humming sound, and it was scary as hell. So it takes time for some people to get there. It took me time. I had no idea. And so I'm assuming, right, there has to be, billions of people out there, right? And that's why it might be a good idea to, slow walk this thing. Of course, as everyone knows, I talk about things like the Las Vegas alien incident regularly on my podcast. It's just, to me, it's the best case that we have right now. That, and perhaps even the Nazca mummies. I'm not sure about the Nazca mummies yet. There's two sides to that. To me, it's leaning toward it's being real, that these are real NHI corpses that they were discovered there, and in Nazca. I'm leaning in that direction. I'm just waiting for more information. I'm not trying to. I'm just being open about this. I know there's a lot of people completely on board. I believe Jack Connor. He believes in it. He runs a really good YouTube channel, Cosmic Road. And he's absolutely convinced at this point, but he knows more about it than me. I need to sit down and see more of his shows. I don't get to see every single one of them, but I know that he is absolutely convinced of this, right? And there's how many different stories. At this time, you look about all the different stories you find online. If you go to on you find some good spaces on Reddit. There's like the subreddit humanoid encounters. You read some of these encounters that people have had over the decades. You buy books by people like Preston Dennett, or watch his videos. He has a video every week where he talks about all different kinds of encounters with UFOs and humanoids, aliens. It's just fantastic stuff. There's people out there trying to give you a message here that we're not alone. We need to wake up to this. The world needs to wake up to it. I mean, maybe, I have problems with the lies. It bothers me. It bothers me when I see people getting harassed or made fun of over their beliefs on this. That troubles me a lot. There was a few comments I received just a couple days ago when I had a guest on, Jamie O'Neill from California. He's a CGI artist. He designs video games, and he talked about a lifetime of weird things: UFO encounters, alien encounters, missing time, possibly abducted. He may have had an implant. I mean, he's not completely sure about everything, but obviously something weird is going on with him. And then you get a couple of comments from people saying, "Oh, he's a liar." Some people just can't accept it. They just can't accept it. But to me, right? Jamie was very genuine, and he doesn't. That's how I am now. I don't care anymore what people think. People need to know the truth of this. It's hard. I know I can't prove what happened to me. I had another incident in the 1990s, in mid 1990s, 1995, or 1995 or 96. I'm not exactly sure, but it was a friend and me were night fishing at a place here in Pennsylvania, and we saw a UFO up close. There was just no question about it. This thing made absolutely no sound. It was as big as a house. It was only hovering 2.5 stories off the ground. It scared the hell out of us. I mean, it was real. It was real. I've talked about these things numerous times on the show. I just think more people need to we need to try to, I understand that, there is probably a desire for some people life's hard enough. It's difficult enough without having something like this thrown into it on top of it. I get it. I mean, we have enough worries here as human beings. We're trying to get along. We're trying to always make things better. Some of us are trying to make things worse, obviously, right? I think we need to figure these things out too. It's very important. But I do think that we could walk and chew gum at the same time. I think that the more people who step forward with their own experiences, it gets so high, it gets so much where it becomes, people, they're just, it's at this point, right? I mean, okay, I could see back in the 1950s, right, when this thing was all just starting up. Okay, yeah, you could cover it up for so long, but at this point now, I mean, all these decades and all the different stuff we have. I mean, the Turkey UFO videos. I mean, if you ever looked at that stuff, I mean, it was video analysis experts from from 4 different countries looked at that, and there were aliens there. The aliens were not only were craft were captured hovering over the sea near in Turkey, there, the Sea of Marmara, but you could see creatures in it. You talk about the Ariel school incident in 1994 in Zimbabwe. I mean, over 60 kids saw flying saucer land and alien creatures. Some of them talked to them, communicated telepathically, right? You think about the Westall School UFO incident from 1966 in Australia. I mean, there was a whole bunch of faculty and students saw UFOs flying around, landing, and then they were basically told to shut up about it by officials they don't even know who they were. It's just, this has been going on. I know it seems like there are people in government for decades now that are trying to tamp down. They don't want the public to realize that humans aren't the only intelligent beings here. There's something else here with us. There's just no question about it, folks. And these beings, whatever they are very secretive. A lot of people have their own ideas about where they come from, right? I've had people on the show like Christopher Knoll, researcher. He's written a great book called Homegrown Monsters, which we talked about recently. He has an idea that it's some sort of a consciousness that's already a different consciousness that's among us, that's been here the whole time. I don't know. I think that they're extraterrestrials. I think these things came from other worlds. And when you think about, there was all kinds of encounters you find throughout history, right? In 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, just like here and there, there's sporadic little stories that you read about that were might have been these NHI, all right? But it really didn't start until the late 40s, after the atomic bomb, and that could have been the signal. That could have been the the red flag that went up, and that's what caused them to come here for some reason. It could be why they showed up in force all of a sudden, and they've been here ever since. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects, a lot of different elements to this phenomenon that more scientists should, at this point, they shouldn't be afraid. I mean, it's this. There's something here. I mean, this should be an open discussion. There shouldn't be like there's if you're going to be truthful, right? The scientific community should just. It's time to admit this. I mean, I don't know what you're waiting for. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I'm talking here more philosophically here, and more from a reporting standpoint, because I know that there's something here. We've shown so much evidence on this channel. On this channel, you think about all these other people, all these other documentaries out there, all these books that people have written, the numerous encounters that people have talked about, that people have told to other researchers. It's incredible at this juncture, and yet it's still a subject that's somewhat taboo, and it shouldn't be. I mean, people just need to open up about this and say, okay, yeah, we need to start taking this more seriously. And I think that's what's happening right now. But we still have this ridicule stuff going on sometimes. You still have people fighting amongst each other, calling each other liars, and it's that we need to get beyond that. We need to be objective. I mean, if you're going to be truly objective about this, you look at this evidence. There's no debate anymore. People think that, I've been talking about this Las Vegas incident from 2023. Some people just think it's fake. I get comments like that from some people. This has to be fake. I mean, have you not just watched? Didn't you pay attention to what was just shown to you? You're not paying attention to all these different things, all these different elements to this story. But yet, I get it. That's what you get. Some people, most of the people that look at it, most of the comments I receive on these shows that I do about it, they're mostly positive. I would say 90% or better, right? Here and there's some people who still have problems with it. There are some people who say they can't see the aliens in the video for some reason, but yet they still believe in the case. There's all different viewpoints, but I mean, the bottom line is this: that's just yet another nugget on top of the pile here. There's no question. So why are we debating this? Why are people like these debunkers constantly saying these things? Again, it could be because there is a need out there. There are some people that might not be able to deal with this, and that's what you could get. I understand that. I really do. There might be some people not ready for this, and they need a release. They need to go someplace where they could, someone could tell them a different story, alternate facts, right? Maybe that's what's required. Maybe that's what's going on here. But I just want to say that I just think that every aspect of this phenomenon is fascinating to me. The alien abductions, the cattle mutilations, the personalities, the whistleblowers, like you get a lot about Lou Elizondo, right? People complain about him, but I look at Lou Elizondo and I think, well, it was him and Christopher Mellon back in 2017 that got the ball, changed the way people look at this subject, right? Wasn't it those two guys basically? Two, at least. I mean, there was others, I'm sure too, but I'm just saying, wasn't it those two guys that really got this thing to where we are today? I mean, before 2017, it wasn't taken that serious. It was laughed at all the time, and there were there's some fakery. There is fakes out. Sometimes there are hoaxes, right? I mean, or sometimes there's things that people think are something and they turn out to be something else. I mean, you look back in 2015 when there was old images of what some people thought was an alien, one of the bodies discovered at Roswell. It was in a glass case, and it turned out to be a mummified kid, and it was all for nothing. And there was all this hoopla around it, and then it just was, then it was over with. And it gives the UFO community a black eye, right, when stuff like that happens. But still, yeah, there's going to be fakes. There's always going to be somebody that hoaxes or tells lies in the UFO community, but still, that doesn't matter. Right? There's people lie all the time about everything, right? But there's enough evidence. That doesn't matter, because there's enough evidence at this point that everyone should know. Everyone should know by this point. But again, like I said, I think the story here is, I think we need to get to, at some point, the mainstream media. We need to just acknowledge here. The government knows they're keeping stuff from us. They've been keeping stuff from us. There's no question about this. No question about it. We have some people, whistleblowers, stepping forward. People like David Grush, And you see what happens when he stepped forward. He gets attacked. They drag his name through the dirt. But he's still standing tall, right? He's still standing tall. We just keep moving forward, right? This could be a slow disclosure. The evidence is there for those who want to know, and for those who don't want to know, well, you have debunkers. You have the government. They could tell you something else. They could tell you, hey, there's no such thing as, we have no evidence of UFOs and aliens, and that's perfectly fine. But that's just where we are right now. That's the situation we are in. The evidence is now out there. There's enough evidence. You put it all together. There's no question about it. We are not alone. And there are people out there that are telling alternate facts. They're providing alternate facts, and that could be for the people who are mentally not prepared for this. There's no question about it in my mind. There are some people who are not prepared mentally to deal with this, and that's why this could be what we're seeing, this slow disclosure. Anyway, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.